Welcome to Cleaning with Kaos. As some of you may have known, if you watched my the auction we had on Horizon Channel last Friday, I sold quite a few Teen Titans, or new Teen Titans. But there was one that I held back and I didn't sell. And I'm going to show you that one today, right after this. All right, let's take a look at it. Now, I purposely turned it upside down. I just want to show you some of the things. It's got a lot of dirt on it. It definitely needs to be cleaned. It's got a crease that goes all the way down on both sides, and it does break color on the front. And it's got some other creases and dents and dings, and it just, I mean, the comic is not in bad shape, but is in pretty bad, but it's not in good shape either. So I decided, this is number 37 from December of 1983, and I decided, well, I do want to sell it, but not in this condition. Now I could pull the one out of my collection and sell that one and keep this one, and I might do that, but first I want to see how it turns out. And I think this is a good example of my cleaning abilities, is if I can get this looking decent. Now we're going to zoom in and we're going to take a look at a few of the larger problems that it has. So let's do that now. Get a nice little focus here. Right up in here, of course you can see this crease, but right up here there's a tide mark, there's a water stain. And of course this crease goes all the way to the bottom, and it's on the back of the book. So that's going to be fun. There's some stains of some sort on the bottom here that need to come out. A crease here that breaks color. There's nothing I can do about that. It's always going to break color. The paper there is weaker. So that's, even if I were to touch it up, the paper would still be weak. And that's something you can do if you suspect a comic has been touched up, but you don't have a black light or you don't have any other way to check it. Get your steamer. If you have a way to steam something, and steam the cover. Because that moisture will show you every crease you've got. And it'll show it to you quick. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on this, but it's not going to be done this week. This comic, I think, is a 2-week project. I'm going to work on it some today. I'll work on it some. I'm going to work on it a little bit each day. And I'll film a little bit of it each day, but I'm only going to show part of it today. You know, I'm going to stop at a certain point, and then I'll continue working on it and continue making videos that I will put all together and publish next week. So, yeah, I just wanted to get it started, and I wanted to show it to you before I did anything to it. The pages are not that bad. They do need to be pressed, but that'll happen when I press the entire comic. Curious about those staples. They don't appear to have any, there's no staining coming off the staples. They're not brilliant, but they do have some brightness still to them, so they're not that dirty. And those staples are unusually small. There's a stain here, so I'll have to do the inside of the book as well. Some stains here. I might try to clean those off. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I may decide to take the comic apart and actually soak it. That would definitely take care of that water stain there. But it tends to fade the ink a lot more than the just doing a regular wet clean on it. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started on this, and we'll start with my microfiber cloth and just make sure any dust that's gotten on the cover since I took it out of the plastic is gone. All right. I need a little bit bigger board. That one is too small. I know I've got some larger ones around somewhere. Nope, all I have over here is smaller ones. Ah, there we go. That's the one I need. And that's the first thing I do. The next thing I do is going to be to warm it up. I need to plug the iron in and let it get it heated up. Okay, now for those of you that wonder why I use this smaller travel iron, it heats up a lot faster than my full-size iron. And I don't have my press heated up at the moment, and that would take 15 to 20 minutes to get up to temperature because it's old. And I want to get started on this, so all I'm doing, as you can see, I'm not applying any pressure at all. I'm not trying to flatten the comic. All I'm trying to do is warm it up so that the MacuClean will work a little better. And that's what we're going to use on this one, is a MacuClean. I don't expect to get a lot of dirt off right now. I will get some off. Now I'm putting some extra right here where that tide mark is, because my experience tells me that that will help to fade it a little bit. Okay. I need to let it dry before I do anything else to it. So I'll be back in about 15 or 20 minutes my time. Snap of a finger your time. And I'm back. I want you to notice how it's curled up a little bit, and you can see it's curled at each one of the creases there, and it makes it easier to see the creases where you might not have seen it before. So the long crease is more pronounced. These smaller creases curl the page up, and the same with this one over on this side. And to a lesser extent, we have a long crease that goes the length of the page there that I noticed part of it, but I didn't realize it was that long. So that's something to look at when you're it's a way to tell if you're not sure there's a crease there. Now, even if these were colored in and they looked good, it would still crease the page. It would still turn the page up like that, because the creases are still there. The paper is weak in that part, and that's why they do what they do. So we're going to get some more MacuClean here, and we're going to go over it again to see what we can pull off. Applying little or no pressure at all. And we're not getting a lot of dirt off of it, which is kind of surprising to me. I expected to get a lot more off of it. As I looked on the inside, I noticed there's another tide mark up here. So I'm going to put additional Immaculate up here and additional here. We're trying to get those to fade out as best we can. And that actually involves soaking the comic to a certain point on those areas. See what else, what other areas need it. Obviously the inside. And there's a stain here that I want to put a little extra on to see if I can get that off. I don't think that stain's going to come out though. Alright, a little bit of dirt, not a whole lot. Again, got to let it dry. So this is going to be the procedure probably for the next 2 or 3 days. Just going over it, letting it dry, going over it, letting it dry. I'll do this 3 times on screen, then I'll go over it with some water to take off the Immaculate and see where we're sitting at. And from there, I'll decide how much longer I need to do this. So, yeah. Be back when it's dry. So, once again, it's dry. And doesn't appear to be fading the inside of it any. Wow, that's actually a pretty big, it dips all the way down to here, so. I'll go over it one more time with Immaculate, let that dry, then go over it with water to take off the Immaculate. And we'll see how it looks after that. And I'll stop there with the video and we'll go to the next. I'll keep doing this and give you an update. In addition, I'll do this same thing to the back side. And we'll get some more go over this a little bit more. I want to get this really wet this time, wetter than what it probably needs to be. Really want to get putting the wet into wet clean this time. And I'm sure you can see how it's grabbing the page and it's really showing how weak that that line in it is, that crease in it is. And we got quite a bit of dirt off that time. Probably should have heated it up before I started doing this again, but that's okay. It's not going to hurt. See how much I got on the back. Not as much as I wanted to, so I'm going to put this over here. And I'm going to go over this part where it dips down into the comic. Like I said, I'm just going to get it wet. Probably wetter than I should. But that's the only way I'm going to have a chance of getting this tide marks out of there, just to get it really wet. All right. Now I really want to take it and let it sit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this here and this because I don't want the water to get onto the comic itself. And we're going to let it sit for probably an hour or two, and then I'll come back and I'll record the last segment that I'm going to do on this video, which will be the going over it with water. And yeah, I'll be back then. Alright, it's been a couple hours and it's all dried up, so what we're going to do is take all that stuff out, put the backing board back under it, and I'm going to flatten it out and heat it up. I'm not going to use the press, but I'm going to use my iron to flatten it a little bit and heat it up. And then we'll go ahead and use some water to take off the MacuClean and see how we're doing. And then I will repeat this process several times over the next few days, and on the back cover as well as the front, and see what we can do to make this look a little better. Got me a little thing of water here. And I like this because I can control the amount of water that goes on the pad. The way I was doing it, I couldn't do that. So yeah, let's see what we can get off of there with that. Oh yeah, got a little bit off of there. A little bit of dirt off of there. Put a little more water on the other side there. And of course I'm going to have to do the inside as well, because I did the inside. Use the other side of the pad there. See what we can do about getting some of that water off. Get the MacuClean off of there. And see what we got. The tide marks have faded a little bit, not that much. They have faded a little. I'm going to go ahead and let it dry. I'll probably leave it open while it dries. And that's going to be it for today. Like I said, it's a little bit cleaner. The tide marks have faded a little bit. I'm going to keep going and see what we can get done on it. And yeah. That's going to be it for today. So make sure if you're using any kind of cleaner, either wear gloves or make sure you wash your hands thoroughly after you use them, because it just makes sense. I want to wear rubber gloves, but I can't find a pair that fit my hands. Most of them are just too... They fit so tight that it cuts off the circulation. My hands start sweating, and I just can't handle that. So I end up having to do it without. Of course, I still put them on if I use really harsh chemicals. You know, like if I'm using like calcium hydroxide or something like that, then I make sure I wear the gloves. But for cleaning comics and for using a MacuClean, I just make sure I wash them really good. And that's something you need to do. Before you handle your comics at all, whether you're going to clean them, whether you're going to put them in a bag and board, or you just want to read them, make sure you wash your hands really well, or wear gloves, either one. Yeah, I'm not disappointed with the way it's turning out. It's going to take a long time. I knew it was going to take a long time. So we'll give you, I'll keep working on it, and I'll keep taking video of it and put it all together next week, and we'll see how it looks next Wednesday, or Wednesday? next Thursday.